It's more difficult to win the Six Nations than it is to win the Rugby World Cup, guys. Before you fall off your chair laughing, this is not what I'm saying, but an actual international rugby player. Today you are going to get a front row seat as I reveal what was said, examine its credibility, and deliver a verdict on whether or not it might actually be true. But you know who I can guarantee disagrees? Two-time Rugby World Cup winning captain Siya Kolisi. That's who. You can get your hands on a Siya bobblehead figurine for free if you visit the Scoin shop and make a purchase. South Africa's leading gold coin and bullion retailer, specializing in Krugerrands, rare coins and numismatics. Just like the Springboks, the Scoin shop is all about world-class quality and heritage. These coins are test match quality, worthy of back-to-back world champions. So why stop at Siya? Collect the whole gang and build your winning team. The Scoin shop has stores nationwide. Right, so Jack Dempsey, that's the Scotland number 8, not the former heavyweight champion of the world back from the dead, claims it is easier to win the Rugby World Cup than it is to win the Six Nations. Dempsey argues that the Springboks losing pool matches in 2019 and again in 2023, but still going on to win the title, proves his point. According to the Scot, you cannot afford to lose a game in the Six Nations. Here's what he said. You can't afford to lose a game in the Six Nations if you want to win it. The pressure is massive because you're playing away from home, not at neutral venues like the World Cup. There's 80 minutes, 5 times. That's what it is. You just have to play 5 games at your best 5 times. That's it. Now, let me just also say that this is from an article published about 10 days ago. Originally, I was just going to ignore it, but there were a few of you that actually messaged me urging me to comment on this, so that's how this episode came about. Let's dissect what the Australian-born Scot is saying here. He says you can't afford to lose a game in the Six Nations if you want to win it. Well, that's not true. There have been 131 tournaments over the years. Originally, it was called the Home Nations, featuring England, Ireland, Scotland and Wales. Then France joined in 1940 to make it the Five Nations, and then in 2000 it again expanded to include Italy, hence the Six Nations. If you beat everyone on your way to winning the title, it is said that you win the Grand Slam. Now, based on what Dempsey is saying, you would think that in order to win the Six Nations, you would inevitably win the Grand Slam too. Because remember, you cannot afford to lose a game. His words, not mine. And yet, out of 131 editions of this tournament, the Grand Slam has only been won on 42 occasions. So in other words, in 89 of the 131 tournaments, the eventual winner lost at least one match on their way to the tournament title. Put another way, that's 68% of the time. More than 2/3. The number 8 is talking nonsense. His next bit of motivation is to say that the pressure is massive because you're playing away from home, not at neutral venues like the World Cup. Now, okay, yes, that is not entirely wrong, but if we look at England for a moment, let's see just how difficult it really is. In certain years, they will face the blue teams at home, that's France, Italy and Scotland, and they travel to the non-blue teams, the other two, namely Ireland and Wales. Guys, Dublin is a short flight from London, and you can literally drive from London to Cardiff and still have enough time to go sightseeing on the same day. I personally have done it myself.
Mitchell, Freeman, over the line, he gets it down.
Compare that to the Rugby Championship, where the Springboks have to fly to the other side of the world to face Australia and New Zealand and have their body clocks knocked out of whack by around 10 hours, and Dempsey's claim starts to look rather weak. Not forgetting that Six Nations teams, depending on the year, could have as many as 3 of their games at home, 2 away, or in a bad year, so to speak, it's 3 away and 2 at home. you've still got some home ground advantage there. Not forgetting that because of those short travel distances in Europe, there are usually a lot of travelling fans. But now I'm comparing the Rugby Championship to the Six Nations, so I'm getting a little bit off the point here a bit. Next point from the Scotland International is that you have to play 5 games at your best 5 times. And yes, I'd agree you have to play at your best as often as possible if you want to win the trophy. But as already debunked, you don't have to actually win all 5 games if you want to win the Six Nations. After all, 68% of the time, the trophy is won by a team that lost a match along the way. Now look guys, we can have a difference in opinion with anyone. Dempsey is of course entitled to his, as we are to ours. But here comes the part that's really going to drive Bok fans up the wall. Ireland never play below a 7 out of 10. That's why they're so hard to beat. Funny how we are not mentioned. Are we not hard to beat? I mean, we've won 28 of our last 33. Dempsey and his Scottish teammates haven't beaten us since 2010 and have only ever beaten us 3 times throughout history. Moreover, we currently hold every major trophy available to us. The Rugby World Cup, the Rugby Championship, the Freedom Cup, the Mandela Plate, and the Qatar Airways Cup. And what's more, each of those trophies have not only been won, but retained at least once as well. And in the last Rugby World Cup, we were in the pool of death. Yes, we did lose to the Irish, and they were the better side on the night, but we then had the most difficult knockout stage to overcome. We had to contend with the host nation and a hostile crowd in the quarterfinals. England were basically doing what we did in 2019, and we only just edged them. And then we had to overcome the old enemy, the All Blacks, in the final. You want to tell me that that was easy? Again, using the England example, I'd back them most years at home to beat Scotland, Italy and France. And then it's a case of, can they go to Dublin and Cardiff and get one win? If they do that, well then 68% of the time, they will win the Six Nations. I discount Scotland on purpose here because they haven't won it since it was the Five Nations in 1999. And they have missed out on the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals in each of the last 2 tournaments. So if it's all a matter of perspective, then from Scotland's point of view, it probably is more difficult. By the way, if I may throw in one other thought, some say we had it easy in 2019. Well, no, not really. We had the All Blacks in our pool, lost, and then had to fight back. Every game from that point on became like a knockout match. Yes, we were always likely to beat Canada and Namibia, but there was no guarantee against the Italians. Remember, the Azzurri had beaten us just 3 years earlier. Then the quarterfinal was against Japan, a rampant Japan that had never been playing as well as they were in that tournament. They didn't just have the whole stadium supporting them, not even the whole country. They had the whole world backing them, baying for our blood. You can't tell me that that was easy for us. And then we get criticised for facing Wales in the semi-finals. Yeah, that would be the same Wales that had just won the Six Nations earlier that year, with a Grand Slam, no less. The same Grand Slam that is only achieved 32% of the time. Jack Dempsey, take note. You want to tell me that that was easy? And in the final we met England. The same England that had just annihilated New Zealand in the semi-finals. And according to anyone who would listen, a shoe-in for the title. Apparently, they just had to rock up at the stadium in Yokohama to get through the 80 minutes before collecting their gold medals. That was, of course, until this happened.
They come and losing it. Arms there, pops up for the toy. Here comes Cheslin Colby. Colby bounces towards the fence. Beats one, still going. Cheslin Colby. Cheslin Colby. South Africa, the World Cup is theirs.
So 2019 was easy, was it? Get out of here. But what do you think? Do you agree with our Scottish friend Jack Dempsey that it is indeed easier to win the Rugby World Cup than the Six Nations? Or do you think this Aussie turned Scot is smoking something? Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, why not help me out with a super thanks? That's the heart button with the $ inside of it. You'll be able to make a highlighted comment on this episode. I'll hit the love button on your comment, and I promise to reply too. You'll also have the opportunity to make a small donation to my channel. It's whatever you want it to be. It can be 10 Rand or 10,000 Rand. The reason I'm asking for your help is because I would love to do this full time, guys. I would also love to go to Australia in 2027 and cover the Rugby World Cup for you from down under with daily coverage. But I'll need your help to make it happen. Whatever you are willing to contribute, I'll be very, very grateful. And if you used to work at Eskom and you got a lacquer bonus when you left, then I'm counting on you to do the right thing. If you're not yet ready to support me in that manner, you can also just spear tackle the like button, and you can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And just before I go, guys, last week Eben Etzebeth released his brand new autobiography. I put out my honest review of his book. You can watch that video over here. I also explain how you can go about winning yourself a copy of the book on this channel. And if you've already seen it, why not go and relive the Springboks win over Argentina to secure the Rugby Championship in consecutive years for the first time ever? That video is over here. Click on one of them, enjoy it, and I'll see you next time.